Hi everyone, my name is Kylie James. I am a certified nutritionist at Crew Nutrition. I'm here today to talk about Pregnancy 101, specifically with regards to weight gain, morning sickness, and cravings. So we will get right into it. So let's go to healthy weight gain. So if you are an average weight prior to getting pregnant, then you should really look at gaining 25 to 35 pounds. If you're an underweight woman, then you need to look at gaining between 28 to 40 pounds. And if you're an overweight woman, you should be looking at between 15 to 25 pounds. So really that weight gain should come on in 2 to 4 pounds during just those first 3 months. So not much in that first trimester. And then you're looking at about a pound a week for the rest of your pregnancy for trimester 2 and 3. If you're expecting twins, you should gain between 35 to 45 pounds during pregnancy. But where does all that weight go? And I found this actually quite interesting. So obviously a baby's weight anywhere between 5 to 9 pounds. So for argument's sake, we'll say 8 pounds for the baby. The placenta makes up 2 to 3 pounds of that weight. The amniotic fluid, another 2 to 3 pounds. Breast tissue, 2 to 3 pounds. And this is what I was surprised about, blood supply. We have put on an extra 4 pounds just to manage the blood supply and the nutrients that we need to get to our bubs. Obviously, we put on some increased fat and weight to help with delivery and breastfeeding, and that can be anywhere between 5 to 9 pounds. And by having a larger uterus, this actually contributes to about 2 to 5 pounds. So that sort of in total comes to that 25 to 35 pounds. So let's have a look at morning sickness. For all those that have been pregnant or thinking about pregnant, obviously this is a common problem that a lot of people experience. So anywhere between 50 to 90% women experience some kind of nausea and vomiting during their pregnancy. So fortunately for most of us, this usually just happens in the first trimester and then we're good to go for the rest of our pregnancy. But about 5% of women usually have those morning sickness symptoms throughout their entire pregnancy. And they have to be mindful too, because if they can't tolerate food, they're throwing food up, they can't eat food because they're nausea. They should really be monitored by a health professional to make sure they're getting the calories and the nutrients that they need to maintain a healthy pregnancy and for the health of the baby as well. Now, science hasn't really proven or doesn't really understand why we get nauseous and can vomit during pregnancy. What the Mayo Clinic suggests is that it could be due to the elevated pregnancy hormone BHCG and estrogen. And this might be a contributing factor as well as unbalanced blood sugars. So one thing that we are going to talk about today is those balancing blood sugars, because that's something that we have control over. So here are some tips for surviving nausea and vomiting. So you want to be eating several small meals a day, and you don't want to skip breakfast, because if you skip breakfast, that's when your blood sugars drop, and that's what can cause nausea. And when your blood sugars drop too, that tends to be the time when you're going to gravitate to something sugary or refined carbs to bring those blood sugars back up. So you want to try and stay away from all those unhealthy processed foods and eat those whole nurturing foods that are going to really feed you and the baby. No surprise, you want to avoid triggers. So if you have an aversion to chicken, whether it be raw or even just cooking chicken, that smell can make you feel nauseous, then obviously avoid those situations as much as possible. Don't lie down after eating, because this will impact your digestive system, which in turn can impact your feelings of nausea and wanting to throw up. An empty stomach can contribute to nausea, so try and eat regularly. So again, the same thing with balancing blood sugars, making sure that you're getting something in you, whether it's something little, to sort of make sure that your blood sugars are balanced. Again, maybe you don't have meals. Maybe you plan small snacks throughout the day to avoid long periods of time without eating. So whether it's snacking on some like nuts and seeds, or maybe some rice cakes with almond butter, or maybe a smoothie. anything that you can tolerate just to get something in you. You want to avoid spicy and fatty foods, which might be tough because when you're pregnant, you might be craving pizza and burgers and fries and stuff like that. But these kind of foods, those processed fats and the spicy foods, can actually trigger nausea and an upset stomach. So you want to avoid those. A great thing to incorporate is anti-nausea bracelets. So, people often use these for motion sickness when they're traveling, which obviously a lot of us are not doing right now. But these bands are placed on your wrist, and they have a pressure point. They trigger a pressure point in your wrist that can help alleviate nausea. So this is a real simple strategy that you might actually find quite effective. And of course, ginger. So ginger is nature's anti-nausea remedy. So you can look at taking ginger pills or capsules, like the supplement form, or ginger candies, but you have to be mindful of the candies because they are high in sugar. And again, we want to keep those blood sugars balanced, but it might be something that you can better tolerate. But the big go-to is like ginger teas. You can sip on that throughout the day to manage your nausea, or even cold water infused with ginger. I have some people that just cut like ginger root and just eat it on its own. I tend to put ginger in smoothies, but whatever's going to work for you and what fits into your schedule and your eating habits and what can be tolerated. So interesting enough, vitamin B6 has also been shown to help decrease nausea. So trying to incorporate foods high in vitamin B6, such as spinach, bell peppers, garlic, tuna, and cauliflower might be another great way to help manage those nausea symptoms. Try to get plenty of rest. If you're tired, that can magnify and exacerbate a lot of those pregnancy-based symptoms. And another great strategy is try to reach out for cold foods, not hot foods. So the problem with hot foods is they often can create aromas that might actually trigger that gag reflex. So maybe making some fruit juice ice blocks that you can sort of suck on, cold drinks instead of hot drinks, or salads instead of like cooked food is a great thing. The last and final one is keep lemons on hand. So sniffing them, squeezing them, and you're like doing it in a lemon infused water, or even licking the slices, eating a lemon. The refreshing smell and taste can actually help calm your stomach when morning sickness hits. So the other thing you could do with lemon is do it in a diffuser, like an essential oil. So I actually have like a little diffuser here that I have in my office. I mean, this is lavender that I have going right now, but maybe doing like a lemon essential oil, any other kind of orange grapefruit essential oil may also help to offset some of those nausea symptoms as well. So a lot of great strategies here. So you can try one couple, or you can try all of them, depending on what works and what doesn't work for you. So another big thing that's really common with women when they're pregnant is cravings. So no one really knows why pregnancy cravings occur, and there's a lot of theories, and one of the most popular ones is when we're craving certain foods, it may be that we're craving a specific nutrient, a micronutrient, a vitamin, a mineral, or a macronutrient like carbs, proteins, or fats that the mum and the baby need. So for example, if you're pregnant and you're craving like French fries, maybe you're actually craving sodium instead. So looking at alternatives to a healthier source of sodium. If you're someone craving ice cream, maybe your actually body is craving for calcium and fat. And if you're craving chocolate, maybe it's a need for increased magnesium because chocolate is loaded with magnesium. So our taste buds do actually play a role in how we interpret our body's needs. And studies show that with the hormone changes that happen when we're pregnant, it can alter a pregnant woman's sense of taste and smell. And we've seen that when we have like smell and taste aversions or cravings. So for example, with my second pregnancy, I love red meat, and I'd make a great, beautiful steak, and I just sit down and I just could not eat the steak. I had definitely a strong aversion to red meat, and as a result I needed to get an infusion because I was anemic. So again, those hormonal changes really impact taste and smell in a positive and a negative way. I wanted to talk specifically, which I find quite interesting, is sometimes when we're pregnant, we can have overwhelming desires to consume non-food substances. And this is a condition called pica, and it can actually be quite harmful to both the mother and the baby. So what some pregnant women may experience if they have pica is they might be craving things like dirt, laundry starch, crayons, chalk, ground up clay pots, or even ice scraped from the freezer. It's really bizarre, and they don't really understand the mechanisms behind pica. I mean, some say again that it could be a nutrient deficiency, so say you're craving iron, but there's no real studies to prove this. But of all the things, the non-food substances that people crave, lead is obviously one of the worst, particularly if women are craving like to eat dirt and clay. This can actually lead to child developmental problems such as low verbal IQ scores, impaired hearing, delayed motor skill development, increased risk of learning disabilities, and attention deficit disorders. So something to be mindful if you are pregnant or know people that are pregnant that have pica and are craving those non-food cravings, again, they need to get help, because this can actually be problematic for the baby and the mother's health. So just what do you need to do? So think about what you're craving and why. So for example, because it could be a specific nutrient that you're needing. And when you think of that craving, maybe think, okay, I think this nutrient is big in this food. Maybe I need to switch that out from that unhealthy craving to something that's more nutritious, that is going to feed me and the baby. So for example, if you're craving ice cream, like calcium and fat might be was what you need, you may want to switch out those sugar-loaded ice cream with organic, full-fat Greek yogurt with some frozen berries. So you got your good fats, you got your healthy protein, you got tons of fiber and antioxidants in the berries, but you don't have all the sugar, additives, and preservatives. French fries, if you're craving French fries and maybe you need that sodium, switch out to bone broth. In fact, bone broth is great because it's high in electrolytes. So if you are throwing up, you are losing electrolytes and it's affecting your fluid balance. So bone broth would be awesome, and it's great for bone development, has that collagen, all those great nutrients. So might be a great way, especially if you can't tolerate eating, maybe sipping on some bone broth is your go-to. And again, chocolate bars. If you're craving chocolate, like all those Kit Kats, Snickers, loaded with sugar and all these other additives and preservatives and colorings and stuff like that. So switch out the chocolate bars and do a couple of pieces of dark chocolate to get your magnesium and your antioxidants as well. I know when I was pregnant with my first child, I was craving fish, but I was craving fillet of fish from McDonald's and fish and like fried fish and French fries, and so at that time I wasn't a nutritionist, but I should have been looking, okay, I'm craving fish, I'm obviously low in some good fats, I need to incorporate avocado or guacamole or nuts and seeds or salmon if I could tolerate it into my diet. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you found that helpful. In a couple of weeks, I have my naturopath, Dr. Bronwyn, coming on board to do a Facebook Live interview. She works for us at Curran. She's just had a baby boy, but she specializes in fertility and pregnancy. So we're going to talk about like what you can do in terms of preparing for pregnancy and if you have difficulties with getting pregnant. So thanks very much, guys. Thanks for joining, and stay safe.